let's talk about the astrology for this week. So it's the charts that I've looked at are from the 17th through the 23rd. So we're focusing on Sunday through Saturday. And to be completely and totally blunt with you, what does the astrology look like this week? It looks like Saturn Square Uranus this week. Now, Saturn Square Uranus is going to be happening to us basically for the rest of this year until, ironically, we end up back in Capricorn season. And what does Saturn Square Uranus do? Well, it does what all other squares do, and squares incite change and ingenuity through challenge. That's what they do. There's no other way to look at a square, because that's what they do. Squares are tense and they're challenging, because we need the challenge, and that's why it's happening. And if you remember last year, we had Saturn Square Uranus all over the place. So now it's back, and it's back in full force. But what's different? I will tell you, we have a lot of trines and sextiles to Neptune and Jupiter that are happening at different times this week as well. And one of the primaries is something that's been happening this whole time, is Neptune square Pluto. Now, both of them are in retrograde, which also tells us that there is some sort of insight or reflection into the past, where we take off the veil and we look at it in a way that is very primal, hardcore, and just get down to the base nature of things, which is difficult for everybody, of course. But you know what it's really good with is Saturn square Uranus. Why? Because Saturn square Uranus, they'll sit there and argue in the sky forever about who's right and who's wrong. Saturn, they both think they're both right, okay? Imagine that they're people. They both think they're freaking right. Now, Saturn says, listen, we're not changing anything because it's the best thing to do. It's the most ethical thing to do, to not change a damn thing. Why? Because at least we already know how to deal with and how to handle the shit that doesn't work. And the bottom line is this: if we upend anything or we change anything, the bottom line is this: we could fuck everything up. Now, Uranus is completely opposite in that it says we have to change everything. Clearly, the fact that things are not functioning and they're not working mean that we have to fucking just eradicate everything, throw it all out, and start from scratch. The problem with Saturn's thinking is, come on, man, that's what makes stuff that doesn't work last way too long. And the problem with Uranus's thinking is, come on, man, not everything has to be thrown out. Some of the we got going on is actually good, right? We don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. A lot of times that's what Uranus energy does. It says, nope, everything has to be new. We have to start off with everything. Everything is going to start. No, we don't. And the beautiful aspects to Neptune, and this is why I trust them, because they're sextiles, and the trines are more related to making us feel comfortable enough with the past to realize that some of it doesn't have to go. Some of it not everything is bad. It's not all bad. Some of it doesn't have to go anywhere. And we're receiving a certain level of comfort with those dynamics this week, so that by the end of this week, by the end of Saturday, there's this beautiful trine between Jupiter and I think the Sun, and the Jupiter and Mercury, while Jupiter is also sextile to maybe Uranus, or maybe it's Venus. I forgot the charts. But what's happening by Saturday is that we're finally going to be able to make decisions based on looking at things really clearly and expansively. So we're going to be able to see even the old stuff in our life in new innovative ways, in ways that, can I make this work? There's a clarity that will come by the end. And this clarity has been coming for the past couple of weeks. So there's a clarity that will come by the end of this week, where we'll actually be able to figure out how to make something possible. It's not just, ideas are great and so are dreams, but you got to have the innovation to be able to fucking make them work. And I believe it's Jupiter sextile to Uranus. I believe that's what it is. So This is the way to figure out how to make things work. Uranus is brilliant energy, but it's so based in concept that somehow you still have to relate it to and translate it into a reality. So it's great to be able to conceptualize, but how do we make this shit actually gonna work? There's also this sort of essence to, I want to expand my social. I want to expand who I'm around. I want to expand my community. I want to grow this, but in some ways I also want to start from home base. I want to feel home. I want to have a sense of the familiar, but I also, in order for me, it's like I want to have a sense of the familiar in order to feel safe enough to be able to be risky. And it's a really balanced way of thinking. And I told y'all way, way, way in the beginning of this year that the energy this year, of course, was challenging, but it was set up to get us to change. It was set up to make us successful in ways that we could not be successful before. And that's what's so wonderful about this year, is that the pressures we are being put under now are for one reason, to actually get us to do and live by our life purpose, by our soul purpose. And the fact that this week welcomes in Leo season, I believe it's Wednesday, it welcomes in Leo season, and that during Leo season, that sun is, I believe, trine to Neptune and Jupiter. I may be calling that wrong, but I know it's definitely trine to Jupiter. There's an expansiveness, a way for us to see our potential and want new experiences, but want to put ourselves in new experiences and believe in ourselves well enough to know that we can handle these new experiences because we know where we come from. You know, it's almost like that perfect balance between that hard-ass, rough, tough love dad who just like, get out there and figure out the world, versus that kind of nostalgic mom that says, no, I want him to feel safe. I want him to feel comfortable. Well, we actually need both of those dynamics in our life. We don't need to feel completely comfortable. Actually, we should feel a little bit uncomfortable most of the time, so that we can always keep moving forward and innovating, but not so uncomfortable that we shut down completely and don't trust anything. So this is a wonderful week where we can actually assess our situations and really feel comfortable with what's been presented to us. And yes, a lot of things that have been presented to us are things from the past that we thought we'd never have to deal with again, that we thought we'd never feel again, that we thought we were beyond. And it's tempting to be angry that they're back, but they're back for one reason. They really weren't gone to begin with. We really have some stuff to work through, but in a different way. In other words, it's not as bad as you thought it was. It really isn't. You're in a place right now inside of yourself where you can handle things in a different way. And I think that this is the week where you start seeing that things have really changed, because when your high school reunion or you back into those old positions or old places, you realize how much you are different, and that you have a power and a strength that goes far beyond anything that those old situations have defined for you. And they're not old situations anymore, because everybody's changed. We're not in the same place. We're not in the same position. Our planet has moved. Our galaxy has moved. Our universe is ever expanding. And that expansion is something that really reaches through this week. So there are breakthroughs this week, but they are subtle. And I hope that you guys will watch all of the zodiac readings, because I can dig down and get specific into where the challenges are and where the expansions are. Remember, they're over on my premier channel, Born Without Boundaries Tarot. Thank you for watching over here on Astrology Motivation. Remember to subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and select all notifications. Like this video and share it on your social media platforms. If you're listening on the podcast, God bless you for helping this podcast podcast grow. I'm actually proud with the number of listeners that I'm getting. And remember, if you want deeper readings to the zodiac readings, there are extended readings that you can purchase on Vimeo every single week, which I hope that you will, because even though they're videos, you will still be able to listen to them, and they go into much greater detail. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the videos.